Hey everybody, let me know if you're watching. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Good morning. It's September 20th. It's crazy. September's almost over. It has been an extremely hectic 2 weeks in here. I apologize for last week. I meant to go live, and with the King Week weigh-in going on and the brawl going on, things got extremely hectic and never got to go live. But yeah, let me know if you're out there watching. And let me know if you can hear me okay, and we'll get into what's new this week. There's a lot of stuff happening. Some great fishing, some of the best fishing in the harbors I've seen in quite a few years, probably like 4 or 5 years. And fishing out on the lake has been great. Hey, DJ, thanks for responding. So, yeah, a lot to talk about today. I've been given skein lessons and egg lessons all week, so I figured that I would talk a little bit about egg fishing today and the do's and don'ts of that, and then a little bit of what's going on offshore. But if anybody has any other questions, feel free to ask. Happy to answer as many as I can. So, yeah, hey, Russell, Charles, Sean. Sean says Racine was slow, a dozen boats in the channel, float fishing, and all the boats left empty-handed by 12. Yeah. The harbors have been hit really hard. Just what happens, but now I think we're going to see some more waves of fish coming in, especially with this little bit of rain we had overnight. And we might get some colder water. I haven't really had a chance to look at the forecast, but this rain's going to help a bit. So, yeah, like I said, I've been doing egg lessons all week. So I'll kind of get into that. If anybody has any questions about fishing with eggs, how to fish eggs, hey, Keith, just let me know. So right here, I've got skein. This is skein that we have in the shop here for sale. It's really good stuff. There's different types of eggs out there. There's skein like this where all the eggs are connected in a membrane, and you can just cut a chunk off and put it on a hook. And then you've got spawn sacks, which are typically loose eggs that are wrapped in netting and fished on the bottom or fished under a float. Right now, this is the egg of choice. Spawn sacks will still work. And really, the best way to fish it right now is under a slip bobber, like this Nova float here. And then underneath the slip bobber, you put either an egg sinker or one of these inline weights. These are new to us right here. We just got in these inline weights. So, nice thing about inline weights is that when you cast them, they don't slide up the line like a egg sinker does. And then you just use a fluoro leader, like 15-pound, with a hook like one of these. We've got these are 1/0 Nova hooks right here. And these are the Gamakatsu size 2s. Either one will work fine. What I have to say is that what you want to stay away from are like the heavily preserved eggs, or sometimes even the fake eggs. But eggs, and I don't want to show the brand. I will, you can probably guess, because I like the brand. I like these guys. Just for around here, for our purposes, these jarred spawn sacks or these jarred individual eggs really aren't effective. Like if you can take that and just bounce it, there's no scent left that you smell it. There's not a whole lot of scent. They don't smell anything like these other eggs. And so to me, I wouldn't spend my money on jarred eggs like that. Really, the real thing is better. And if you don't have the real thing, you're just better off using lures, stuff like that. Casting crankbaits, casting spoons, and then get your own eggs. You know, once you catch a fish, cure those eggs. And that's all. Curing is a whole nother video, but cure your own eggs or stop by and get some of these eggs. That's the way to go if you want to really catch fish on eggs. Once we get a little bit later in the season, when there's more brown trout and steelhead, then I find spawn sacks to be a little more effective. And then I'll be using more trout eggs, a little less cure to them. So that's how I like to do it. That's kind of my way. But yeah, if you have any questions about cures or anything, or how to fish eggs, or what kind of eggs to use, feel free to ask. Let's see. Gold and Silver Junkie says, is there some sort of fish finder I could use from the piers? Because I feel like I'm casting into an empty swimming pool. I know what you're feeling there. Sometimes shore fishing can be quite a grind and you just don't see anything happening. Um, I know people have used those castable fish locators that'll link up to your phone or like a watch. I've also seen people bringing a whole live scope unit down to the pier and dropping that in the water. That might be a little extreme. I wouldn't want to drag all that down there. Me personally, if I'm going casting from shore, I want to bring as little as possible, just a rod or two, and that in a small tackle box. So there are some things that like those. I think Vexilar makes one. I'm sure Garmin and Lowrance, they all make them now, where you can just cast out a transducer and reel it in and see what you're marking out there. Um, I don't know the details of them, like which one's better or not, but that would definitely work. But the main thing with the shore fishing is just being there at the right time. It's a grind, but if you put in your time, you just happen to be there, it'll just be like the Dead Sea. There's no fish around, and then all of a sudden everybody starts hooking up, and then it dies, and it's like it never happened. So, all right. What would you do right now? Cranks and spoons or skein? Well, it kind of depends. You know, if I was going like right now, mid to late morning, I'm gonna fish skein for sure. Slip bobber and skein. During the daylight hours, that is going to catch the most fish without a doubt. If I'm fishing in the evening, well into the dark, early morning, then I prefer to catch, or I prefer to use crankbaits just because I like fishing crankbaits. And I like feeling the strikes, or if I'm trolling, it's always a hard hit. Something like the reef runners. Here's one of our custom Mr. Chrome glows right here. Reef runners and thunder sticks, stuff like that. J13s, all sorts of different things. If you're casting from shore, don't forget about ripping wraps. They can be really good. Spoons will work too, but I think we're getting to the point in the run where the spoons are starting to lose their effectiveness a little bit, and you need something a little louder and gaudier to get their attention. So just keep that in mind, but sometimes spoons work good because you need to cast them far, and spoons cast better than crankbaits. Lex says he uses the Garmin Striker fishing from shore, and it's either feast or famine. Yeah, feast or famine is the truth. How productive is the mouth of the river by Chicago Harbor for salmon? You know what? I've never really heard of anybody fishing it. I know like Montrose and some of those areas will cast from shore and it can be okay. But the one thing about the Chicago River is it flows into the river instead of like all of our rivers, like the Root, all the other rivers around Lake Michigan, they flow out into the lake. And that's what the fish are looking for when they run upriver. I would imagine some salmon end up in the Chicago River, but I would think you're better off fishing some other places, but I'm not super familiar with down there. JPRZ says, I had good luck with salmon crankbaits. Yeah, I've had some good luck with salmon crankbaits as well, some deep divers. I haven't used them in quite a long time, but those are good crankbaits. What would you be using out in the lake right now, and where would you start? Well, I guess that depends on what kind of fishing you want to do. Do you want to do the harbor fishing, or you want to go out deep and catch the younger fish and lake trout and all that? So, yeah, I mean, if I was going right now, it's a little rough out deeper right now, but we had some pretty good reports. Basically, once I get in my fishing report, that'll give you all the answers right there. So once I get through all the other stuff, we'll get into the fishing report. Do you have to use glow in the dark when fishing in the dark? No, you don't. Actually, glow in the dark works really well, and there's times you definitely need it. Like the fish prefer that glow in the dark. But it doesn't have to be glow in the dark. These fish can see in the dark. They eat alewives all night long that don't glow in the dark. Especially when it comes to the different crankbaits, they all are loud and have rattles, and so they can hear them and feel them going through the water, and that's a big part of it right there. Also, like we had that full moon a little over a week ago, and we had clear skies, so it was really bright at night. And we find on those bright nights like that, chrome chrome baits are really good, especially a combination of chrome and black. So during that time, I was selling all sorts of chrome reef runners. The chrome with the black head, there's like a chrome Wonder Bread. And I forgot the other. It's a chrome and green one. I can't remember the name of it. Those are really good. Chrome and black rattle traps are good because what happens is you get the flash from the moon and all the other lights around the harbor, but also the black on the crankbait. If you just kind of envision it against the moonlight, it's going to silhouette against it. So a lot of times that is more effective than glow in those circumstances. When I like to definitely use glow is on darker nights. It's cloudy. There's no stars or anything like that. That's when the glow really shines. Or just when it's not a bright night at all. It doesn't have to be cloudy, but if you don't have a bright noon, if you have like the new moon, that's a good night to use glow in the dark. So yeah, and speaking of which, last week we got in the custom Mr. Chrome reef runners here. This one is called Dumpster Fire. This is the splatter bread, so it's just another take on Wonder Bread. He did a really good job on these. And then we kept Michael's BFF around for this year. So they glow really, really well. They've been catching fish on them all week. We still have some in the shop. We also had flicker shad, but those are all gone already in the same colors. But yeah, I've sold a lot of these, and I had a lot of good fishing reports from them this week. I had guys that bought like 24 of them. Just for themselves. So they've been pretty effective. We also got in more of the torpedo hooks if you need to replace your hooks. I was running pretty low on any of the 2X or 3X hooks out there. So did get another shipment of those in. Let's see what Patrick says here. The boat is coming out of the water this week. Any recommendations where I can do some shore harbor fishing for trout over the next few months? All the harbors are going to have some trout. Even North Point here will have some trout. It's not the greatest for kings, but it'll have some trout, along with the big pike, of course. But I always like fishing further north for trout, Kenosha, Racine, Milwaukee. Just a lot more public access in all those places for shore fishing. And that's where all my biggest trout, like brown trout and steelhead, have always come from. So that's what I prefer there. What else came in new? I think that was it for new stuff this week. We'll get into the fishing report a little bit. So there's a lot going on right now. Last week we had the brawl. There were some big catches in the brawl. We also had big catches for King Week. So King Week and the brawl, depending on the divisions for King Week, you pretty much had to have almost 90 pounds to win it on 5 fish. It was pretty incredible to see that. There was some great fishing in the harbors, especially further north. I haven't had as good reports out of Waukegan for some reason, but the further north harbors were really, really good last weekend, and have just kind of been up and down since. And then like one day Kenosha will be better, the next day it's Racine, next day it's Milwaukee. They're just kind of day to day, and it's just a matter about being at the right time. But they're still catching some nice fish. Definitely worth your time fishing. And I think this rain, I think we have more rain coming. That's just going to help. Part of what happened by the end of the week that made it tougher is the water was just super clear, and that makes fishing tough. So we just want a little bit of color to that water, kind of greenish, and that's going to help the bite quite a bit. But there's a lot of fish in the harbors right now. So pretty much any of them, kayakers and boats and shore fishermen were all catching fish. But last week we saw guys catching fish on skein. I mean, we're talking double-digit catches. And then, of course, the deep water is doing well. This week, like for the guys trolling out for the younger fish, around here, just like 50 to 70 feet of water was loaded with younger kings. A lot of like 5 to 10 pound fish. They're catching some quick limits. Definitely worth, if you want to catch some chrome fish still, there's a bunch out there. A lot more than the last couple of years we've seen. It's better conditions. We've had colder water staying closer to shore, especially compared to last year. And it was good fishing. They were telling me it was mostly spoons. Of course, I'm always going to run a fly or two anyways. But yeah, they were telling me mainly standard size spoons were doing the work, moonshines and beaver spoons. And by the way, we did get in more beaver spoons. I forgot to bring some up here. So yeah, definitely worth your time getting out. And then let's see. Lex says, when does the lake trout bite happen? I'm over Kings. Lake trout bite is in absolute full swing right now, especially off of Waukegan and the reefs. You can catch a lot of lake trout really fast. If you look back at one of our videos from about a year ago with Captain Jim Stepp, you can see the program for that. But it's really fast action. And again, it's a lot of these big flashers here with spin and glows and dodgers. So like 11-inch flashers on downriggers and the big fish-shaped, the fish and chips here, metal dodgers, 8-inch metal dodgers like these, and even the stubbies are going to do really good, like the smoke stubby and the Frankenstein that was good for this year with a spin and glow and fly behind it. And they're not super picky. You can put almost anything you want down there and catch them. It's just a matter of getting down to the reefs, like the South Reef, the Lake Bluff Reef. All those areas are just loaded with lake trout. And if that's what you want to catch, it is 100% worth heading to Waukegan for that. Even if you're coming from Wisconsin, if you need to buy an Illinois license, do it, because you will not find any better lake trout fishing than down there right now. And it's going to keep getting better into October. Like, they'll stay on those reefs and more fish, and they'll just keep accumulating on there. But they are absolutely loaded with fish right now and 100% worth fishing for. All right. Slicky Mo says, blue and chrome Hottentot with bloody lip works great as well. Yeah, the Hottentot's one I always forget to use, but it's a good bait. How much do you charge for the cured eggs? These containers here are $8.50. So that should get you, depending on how big a chunks you cut from it, like 6 to 8, maybe even 10 pieces of bait. You know, just depends on how big you like. Right now, I'm probably gonna go a little smaller because everybody else is out there putting giant chunks of skein on there. Hey, Bill, good morning. Let's see what else is going on. Like I said, the lake trout fishing's on fire. The silverfish, that's been really good. Harbor fishing, it might have peaked a little bit, but I think we're going to get another wave of fish, especially with this rain. And the next full moon, there'll definitely be another wave of fish coming into the harbors. And if we get a lot of rain, then you'll start seeing some fish going up the river. The problem is right now, the ground is so dry, it's soaking up most of the runoff. So the rivers aren't getting a chance to really raise up. But as soon as we get some really good rain, those fish will be all the way upriver, and I think you'll see more waves of fish coming into the harbors as well. But it's definitely a really good bite to get in on. And I right now I'd probably be especially with the clear water, and hopefully it dirties up a little bit with the clear water. I'd be spending my time out there at night. Lex, any good charters out of Waukegan? You know what? I don't know of any bad ones down there. If you just Google like Waukegan, Illinois fishing charters, they will you'll find some good charters down there for sure. Some of them are probably starting to end the season soon, but yeah, you can't go wrong with any of them down there. So yeah, definitely don't wait long to book that charter because they might be pretty booked already, and it's come down to the end of the season for the charter guys. And it's actually a really good, if you can get out there on your own boat, it's a really good opportunity to jig too. I've done that in the past off the reefs. You get a nice day and you have some heavy enough jigs, like some 2 or 3 ounce laser minnows, something like that. The braid set up like a medium heavy rod with spooled with braid. You're kind of fishing that down like 120 feet, 140 feet. But there's so many fish on these reefs that it is a really good opportunity for guys to go out and jig for them. It's been quite a few years since I did it, but definitely worth it. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask. I'm not like an expert at that kind of jigging, but that's probably the best opportunity for jigging in our area on this side of the lake, really, just because of the huge concentration of fish down there. So, yeah. If you guys have any other questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll be here till 4 o'clock today, and I'll be here from 9 to 2 tomorrow. Monday, here's another thing. Monday, right now is actually, I've been really busy getting orders ready for next year. So all my orders for new product for next year are getting put in right now. If you guys have anything that you think I should carry, let me know. It'd be interesting to to hear what you guys want in this store. So let me know if any old products that I don't have or new products coming out that you've heard about. Let me check them out. I'll be going to a show on Monday. Captain Caleb will be here covering for me on Monday. Yeah, let me know what's out there that you think this store needs. But yeah, if you have any questions on rigging the skein, if you need any skein, feel free to stop in. We still have some spinning rods and reels. So we can get you spooled up there. I've got guys still spooling up with copper, all that. Fishing was phenomenal yesterday. Yeah, Elmy stopped in yesterday, showed me his catch, some pictures. He had a great catch out of Waukegan. So definitely don't put the trolling stuff away yet. How's the coffee? It's good. It's good. Thank you. Sean says I should sell Powerline cannons. You know what? I don't know anybody making them. I think they're all homemade. I could probably sell a bunch if somebody wants to make one. That's for sure. Patrick says Northeast troller stuff looks cool. Yes, that is on my list of things to carry. New products for next year. I meant to get them this year, and then things got a little crazy. I never got to put in that order. But that is on the top of the list for next year for sure. He's got good plugs, some great looking spoons, and they're durable, well-made spoons from what everybody tells me. So I'm looking forward to getting some Northeast troller stuff in. Probably try to get it for early spring before the season starts. Otherwise, once the season starts, I get so busy and I don't get to order things anymore. Oh yeah, if you only have a 14-footer, stick to harbor fishing. Going to the reefs for the lake trout is definitely not something you want to do in a 14-footer. They're pretty far out there. I think if you're coming out of Waukegan, the South Reef is like 6 or 7 miles, and then the Lake Bluff Reef would be even further than that. So definitely get out there with a charter if you only have a little boat. Yep, stranglehold spoons. That's on the list too. I need to get my hands on some of those. I've had some mixed reviews on them so far, so I need to see those in person. And but otherwise, yes, stranglehold spoons is on the top of the list. So looking forward to checking those out and getting some of that original moonshine glow out there. But yeah, I need to order a few for myself and play around with them. So yeah, any other ideas for things for next year, let me know. There's a couple other spoon brands I'm looking at as well. It was a good year for selling stingers. Stingers did really well this year, so we'll probably have a few new stingers. And actually, Stinger wants feedback on which old stingers that they discontinued that they should bring back into production. So if you have any requests from Stinger on which stingers that were your favorites but they stopped making, let me know, and then I can tell them to start making those again. We'll see if they listen to us or not. But yeah, it should be interesting going into next year with some new products, some new flashers and stuff like that. Maybe some new stubby dodgers, and we'll see what's going on after that. So I'm going to open up the store in a couple minutes here, so it'll be the last chance to get any questions in. But thanks everybody for watching. Again, I apologize for last week. It was just chaos in here. I intended to go live and just never got to. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. All right, the YBYA in Stinger Glow. I don't know that one. Or Stinger in a Stinger color. I don't know what the YBYA is. But yeah, I'll put that on the list. So, yep. Have a great weekend, everybody. Again, let's see here's another fishing report. The king bite in 50 to 70 feet of water. They're biting during the day or just early morning at night. You know what? They're biting throughout the day. Actually, Elmy told me that he did really good at like 10:30 in the morning. But usually, first thing in the morning is better. But yeah, it has been like you don't feel like you need to get out there at 4. They've been biting pretty good. How can I send you a picture of the Stinger spoon? I don't know the name. Rob at LakeMichiganAngler.com. So anybody can email me there if you have questions about anything or product or whatever. Rob@lakemichiganangler.com is the best way to get a hold of me. Okay, I got you, Andy. I'll have to look that one up. My request with Stinger was to bring back more gold spoons, because it seemed like all of our favorite gold spoons were discontinued. So I'm going to bring that back. Oh, and by the way, I talked to Okuma last week, and they will be sending more stuff for giveaways. So I don't know exactly when I'll get it, maybe in a couple weeks, but we'll start doing giveaways again as soon as I get those. It sounds like it's going to be the new convector reels, which I do have here already. If you want to check out the new convectors, really good feedback on those. They did update the drags on them. I got more details on it. So the drags are improved over the old convector reels, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, I have them here. I usually have one sitting up here, but I don't. Oh, right here, one of the big 55s. I've been selling a few of these, and I've had really good feedback so far. So we'll have several of those to give away in a couple weeks, probably. I think once we get through all these shows, like Okuma, they're busy going to the shows like I am. So once that's kind of settles down, then we'll start getting that stuff back in. And then we can start doing giveaways again. And I'll think of something else to start giving away as well. So that should do it. Good luck fishing this weekend, everybody. If you get any fish, we'd love to see the pictures. Send them to us on Facebook or just post it on our timeline. And have a great weekend, everyone.